Hello everyone. So for Monday motivation, I'm talking on a very special topic, and that's chronic negative stress. So stress, our body is used to feeling stress, and we need certain kind of stress, to be motivated and to be triggered to do certain tasks. Otherwise, we would never do and just stay away, if we don't feel that mild form of stress. And if you talk about motivation, it's also a kind of stress in your body. You feel that energy and you want to do a certain thing, so that's also a stress, but it's a positive stress. It doesn't harm your body. The chronic negative stress, the stress that you feel, time and time, over and over again and again, always, which goes inside your body and disrupts the system, and it affects your organs, it affects your health, it affects your entire being. That's the stress I'm talking about. And in this time, I think there is hardly anyone who is without any stress, any kind of stress. If you talk to even a small child, he's under stress of the studies. There's so much, pressure. And I feel little children, they are often overlooked by the kind of stress they feel in their body, because as an adult, we get used to of living with stress. But the small children, they are in the process, like the small little bodies, small little minds, they're fathoming in this world and finding their way through all the stress of the studies, all the pressure that they have around, and they're feeling all of it in their body. And if a little child says to you he's stressed out, he's right. A small child, when he says he's stressed out, it's right. So last week had been, I would say last 2 weeks had been quite stressful for me. I had COVID, and my son also had COVID. We were recovering, and I lost my grandmother in the beginning of last week. So I was quite, I would say, stressed. And my son was able to figure it out. And he said to me, "Mommy, make a happy face." Because he understood from my expressions and body, that mommy is not his usual mommy. And then I said, "Beta, I'm sad," So he should know that it's not a button to switch. It takes time. If I am sick and weak and I'm grieving, I will take my time. And I told him that I will be okay, Mommy will make a happy face soon. Mommy will have a happy face soon. And then he was okay. But if you think that the small children, they are not noticing, they notice everything. You feel everything. You think that they're just 3-year-old around, or 4-year-old or 2-year-old. No, but they have a full mind inside their body, which is grabbing things so quickly because it has to make sense of what is happening around. So I would say their mind is more active than the adults, because at that time it has so much capacity to learn and store everything and to make sense of what is happening around. They're giving meaning to every little thing, what is happening around them. So for the stress, there are two kinds, external and the internal. The external factors, your work, your relationships, and your lifestyle, a lot of things that comes, what affects you externally. And you can point out that because of the work, or because of this project, because of, where you can pinpoint that I'm stressed out because of XYZ things. The internal stress is even more difficult to point out. It's very difficult because you have to introspect, you have to sit, and you have to be aware that I am under stress. A lot of times it's very difficult to put a point there, or that I am stressed internally. That if when I start thinking about certain things, all the emotions come to me and I feel under stress. Or when I read certain thing, all the thoughts that come to me makes me stress. Or when somebody said something to me, and then what happens inside of me after what's said gives me stress. So external stress, you can immediately put a note on it. The internal stress is very difficult to point out. And sometimes the body is so used to of being in that internal stress or stressful state, that's very hard to put a finger or point there, that And when there is, like, when you calm down or there is peace, like, people don't know what to do without that stress. They're so used to, it's like they will still rush. For example, that rule that the body in the motion still continues to be in motion. So when you are in that perpetual stress, even when the stress is gone, your body is still, not slowing down, not stopping down. So I would feel that if you are a very talkative person, somebody who likes to do multiple things, and all of a sudden things slow down, like what happened to us in the COVID is one example, that we do not know what to do now. Our body was still in that perpetual stress, that okay, it was so hard to keep our body still and calm, without moving that much, without that much noise, without that much sound, without that much stress. And then we developed another kind of stress based on COVID, that, we don't know what's happening. And there was so much negativity and bad news around us, of people dying, losing jobs, and, so much struggles they were having. So it was double stress. First of all, the absence of a usual stress, and second, the new stress that was developing. So COVID time was really hard for everyone to fathom around, what's happening, that uncertainty, because we have started living in a life of very, certainty. Oh, I'm going to live around 80 or 90. Oh, I will do this in my retirement, and I have these plans and that plans, and, plan after plan. But COVID came and it's just struck us that, your plan was not always work. So there is somebody else's plan which is in place, and to accept that. And how would you accept it? Just to slow down. Slow down. I think COVID was a great time to slow down. And even when things are coming back in pace, we can still be aware of our stress and reduce those stress. So I'll talk about how can we reduce our stress in another video. But I would urge everyone to just notice themselves, their bodies, and what are the internal stresses. When did that internal stress happen? When did they start feeling anxious? When did they start feeling nervous? When did they start feeling angry? What happens to them when they start feeling distress? Or if they're constantly thinking about something, if it's an external factor or an internal factor, what's causing them stress? So for this week, just mind your stress. Take care. Just be aware what's giving you stress. Or if you're in a perpetual stressful life, that you're so used to of it. Even if that's the case, just be aware of it. Okay? Take care. Bye.